7?
I was gonna say.
I'm not sure.
Conversations.
Hey,
We'll be starting in a minute. Oh, sorry.
let's pay attention to what I'm doing. Don't.
I gotta do my. I know. Darn right.
They are. Although they're not that handy when people forget they have wheels standing up. That would work. All right.
That will that cause a problem with that? I bet.
It will.
It'll just hit whoever sits there will hit the back of their head.
All right. What are the odds?
Find them for what? Yeah, she's favored by 4.5.
So we had our fourth board member.
She went out to get tons. You're right back.
Okay. As soon as we have our fourth board member, we'll be here. We'll be ready. And for our former board members in the room, there's exciting, we have 2 hearings. I don't think Mrs. Ramage ever had 2 hearings in one meeting. Yep. All right. There we go. Now we-
How do you know if you have anybody watching?
What's that?
How do you know if you have anybody watching?
We don't.
We don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that we have.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. One. Do pledge, please. Please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carrie. Gonna do her thing.
John Brotherton.
Here.
Moto Johnson. Katie Johnston.
Here.
Diana Mendoza. Here. Nikki Pettit.
Here.
Joe Robinson. Tyler Wilson.
Here.
Moto and Joe are not here. Okay. Agenda budget hearing. Are we ready?
Yeah. We need to have a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Somebody second it?
I second it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm behind.
It's okay.
Well, we'll excuse this time, but don't let it happen again.
Once, that's it. All right.
Who made the motion?
Tyler did, and Nikki seconded.
Joe, I'm sorry, John Brotherton.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza.
Aye.
Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
There are no public comments.
No comments.
So now we can motion to adjourn the budget hearing.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the budget hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay. Katie?
John Brotherton.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
All right, now our next hearing.
Call to order. Secretary of the board will take attendance.
John Brotherton.
Here.
Moto Johnson. Katie Johnston.
Here.
Diana Mendoza.
Here.
Nikki Pettit. Here. Joe Robinson. Tyler Wilson.
Here.
What, motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
There we
I'll
go.
make the motion to approve
Thank
the
you.
agenda, removing and correcting items.
Nikki, how about you?
I second it.
Thank you. We're going too fast for.
We're going too fast.
It's just I have to keep up. Okay. John Brotherton.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
I think we're done.
Public forum.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Nobody signed up? Okay.
There we go.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the administrative cost waiver hearing.
I'll second it.
Who's that? Katie?
Yeah.
Katie seconded.
John Brotherton.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
I will never again have two hearings at the start of a meeting. That
I hope so.
felt awkward. So now we'll have our regular board meeting. Call to order. Mr. Brotherton. We don't have to do the pledge again.
No, but we have to do,
We have to continue.
Attendance, yeah.
Okay. Secretary?
John Brotherton.
Aye. Here, let's go.
Moto Johnson. Katie Johnston.
Here.
Diana Mendoza.
Here.
Nikki Pettit.
Here.
Joe Robinson. Tyler Wilson.
Here.
I make a motion to approve the agenda, removing and correcting items as presented.
I'll second it.
Wow, you're doing this all by yourself. You don't need me, I go home.
Go home.
John Brotherton.
I'm figuring out how to read.
Katie Johnston. Aye. Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
All right, now for what everyone's waiting for in the audience tonight. All right. Mrs. Ramage, would you please come up to the hot seat? Oh, it says the speaker's table in my notes. I have to stick to my script. All right. Thank you for being here this evening. I know you have some guests with you. Is there anyone you'd like to introduce?
Well, sure. I'll
Okay.
introduce my husband, Tom, and my son, Colin, and my daughter-in-law, Megan, and my grandson, Sean.
All right. Oh, it's okay. So thank you for being here this evening. Mrs. Ramage has worked in public schools in Illinois for more than 30 years. She began her career in 1989 in her hometown of Danville as a special education teacher and eventually moved into an assistant principal role at Danville High School, where she had the unique experience of supervising and evaluating some of her former high school teachers. Still in Danville, she served as the assistant principal at Northridge Middle School before serving as the assistant special education director for the district. In 2005, she began working in her first superintendency in Thomasboro, where she served until 2012. Eventually, she had the very unique opportunity of being the superintendent for 2 school districts at the same time. While still the superintendent for Thomasboro, Michelle joined RCS in 2010 during a challenging time for this district as our previous superintendent was unable to work due to a medical emergency. Michelle became the full-time superintendent of RCS in 2012. Now, the average tenure of a superintendent in Illinois is just over 3 years, so I'm halfway done, I guess. And
Maybe.
RCS was remarkably fortunate to have significant stability in leadership of our district for more than 10 years. This stability was due in part to the board members. In 10 years, Michelle worked with 11 different board members, and several of them are here tonight. I'm happy to share that as part of this evening's recognition, we have installed it's over here on the wall, a perpetual plaque with all of the board members who served, starting with Mrs. Ramage's tenure until today, which is 17 different community members who have volunteered to work with the district to improve our schools. So you had 11 of them, and they're up there already. So as a district, we want to thank, this is where we bring the one thing over. Hannah wanted me to do a dress rehearsal today.
I'm not surprised.
I know.
Which we didn't do.
All right. As a district, we want to thank Mrs. Ramage for her years of dedication and do so in a way that creates a lasting legacy. In honor of Mrs. Ramage, the district is establishing the Rantoul City Schools Foundation. The goal of the foundation is to support building our community through educating the students of RCS. The foundation will provide direct grants to our schools to support special projects that would not typically be funded through regular district funds. We are very happy to present this check to Mrs. Ramage to establish the Rantoul City Schools Foundation in the amount of $5,800. Oh yeah, you got it. I'm gonna get it. You're getting it.
Oh,
This is
Hannah.
the awkward moment she was trying to avoid.
Part of the dress rehearsal that didn't happen.
Now,
Just don't cash this, okay?
now we still want to give you a gift to take home, and I don't think you and Tom will want to hang up the giant check. So this small gift is intended to remind you of your years with RCS. The gift is a blue and gold book, the colors of RCS. The open book is a symbol of learning and knowledge. This open book represents the opportunities for learning that you made possible for our students so that they may continue to learn and develop throughout their lives. Mrs. Ramage, thank you very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really do. I just want to say, just 10 seconds, I promise.
Okay, you're welcome to give a speech.
You know, I'm not a long
Yeah.
speech person. But I do want to thank everybody, thank the staff and the board, especially those who have been with me from the beginning, out there in the audience. When I came in 2010, the intent was not to remain here. I was very happy where I was, and I came and I fell in love. And part of that's because of the board, very much. We wouldn't come here if we didn't have a board who was supportive of everything that we were doing. So although I am a little nervous about the next steps in our lives, I guess, I am thrilled that I have someone who will take up some of that time. Regardless, it is more difficult than you know to leave you, because I do love this. I do love the people that I work with and the goals that we have. And I am thrilled to leave, and we have left it in very capable hands, as you know, for the last year and a half. So at least that's a good feeling to know that amazing things are happening. So thank you all very much, and good luck.
Thank you. You're all welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. Or leave, we will not be offended. We do, however, Mr. Brotherton, actually have to vote to authorize the establishment of the foundation. So there is a motion on the screen here.
Motion to authorize the superintendent to enter a contract agreement with the Community Foundation of East Central Illinois for the purpose of establishing the Rachel City School Foundation. Thank you, Katie. And second?
I'll second.
Tyler seconds it.
John Brotherton.
Aye.
Katie Johnston. Aye. Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
We do not have any public comment.
No public comment.
Thanks. The consent agenda, this is actually the most straightforward consent agenda we've had in a while. It's board minutes, bills and financial documents, the personnel report, and donations and grants. So as we said, there's $5,800 from various donors to establish the Rancho City Schools Foundation. And then exciting news is that Miss Amber Stivers-Anders, who's the library aide at Pleasant Acres, wrote a grant and earned $5,000 to support the library at Pleasant Acres, which is exciting. So
Very exciting.
Would like to make a motion? How about me?
Yeah.
Motion to approve the consent agenda items, including personnel report as submitted with the stipulation that each individual is required to comply with all requirements for new hires as indicated in Illinois statutes and RCS board policy and procedures, including ratification of bills prepaid by the financial manager under board policy 4.50. This motion made by me and seconded by Diane. Thank you.
John Brotherton.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Hi.
Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
all right, we'll move on to the budget approval. And so board members, there is a one pager here because that what's on the screen might be too small for you to see. It's a separate sheet. It's got a spreadsheet in there. Okay, and I do just want to talk through this for a few minutes about the budget because it is a $36 million budget, and I think it's worth doing a little explanation with us. We can always do more if you're interested. So across the top, there are listed are there are 8 funds. So for school districts, we receive money, our revenues, and they are allocated into specific funds. So once the money is in a fund, it has to be spent for purposes within that fund. Or we have to do an amendment. And there's also some restrictions that we're not even allowed to move certain amounts of money. So across the top, you can see the 8 funds that we use. Education, operations and maintenance, debt service, that's the one that is paying bonds. Transportation is Fund 40. 50 is municipal retirement and Social Security. 60 is capital projects, so that would be in some cases if we were going to do major renovation. However, you can generally use Fund 20 O&M and Fund 60 for projects. Working cash is not something we generally expend money out of. We would transfer from working cash into other funds if we were to have a shortfall in a fund. Tort is primarily for legal expenses and insurance is what goes into the tort fund. There's also a Fund 90, but we do not use it anymore. Most school districts don't, and that's a fire safety fund. It's still on the books, but it has zero money in or out of it at this point. So line 1 is our estimated beginning balance. So this is the amount of money that we have in the bank. And this was the amount of money we had in the bank on July 1st. So we got to clarify that. I believe at the next board meeting, the auditor will be here and he will explain why we maintain fund balances. So if you look all the way to the far right, we have a starting fund balance of over $17 million, which sounds like a lot. And we do have a healthy fund balance. But we should have a healthy fund balance because you have to have a cushion in your accounts for what happens if the state stops paying bills, what happens, the federal government's never not paid bills, but they do cut their funding. The other would be, there's always the concern that TRS, which is the teacher retirement system, that through legislative action, the district could be given full responsibility over that, which has a financial impact on us. Estimated revenues. So our estimated revenues, and this is broken down by fund, but if you go to the far right, that's where I have that $36 million number. That's what we are projecting to receive in revenue. It won't be that number. It will be more or less, but that's what our best guess is. I put lines 3 and 4 on here of specific interest to the board. So of our $36 million in revenue, 8.1 million is local. And of that 8.1 million, 6 million is in property taxes. So property taxes tends to be the one that we hear the most about, but it is not the largest source of revenue for us. A highlight is over the last year and a half, our sales tax revenue has been up significantly. And so that's a countywide sales tax. That's that 1% sales tax. And I'll talk about what we're doing with that additional revenue in a minute. So if it's not local property taxes, the other local revenue is sales tax, or there's something called the corporate property replacement tax, which those numbers have been up quite a bit in the last year also. Line 5 is the estimated expenditures. So you see there 34.8 million in estimated expenditures. And then the line below that is what's the difference between our revenues and expenditures. And we're projecting at this point in time, ending the year with a surplus of 1.1 million. On line 6, I want to highlight 2 numbers, which I put them in red so you would see them. Those should not be a concern that we have a negative difference in those funds this year. So the easier one for me to explain is 30 debt, which is the column for 30. That's where we're paying our sales tax, or that's where we're paying our bonds. So because our sales tax revenue was up considerably last year, we already have a good chunk of the money that we need to pay our bonds in that account because we already have $919,000 to start. So most of our sales tax revenue, there's only one other place we can put it. We either pay debt or we put it in Fund 60, which is capital projects. So that's where you see this year, we're putting $1.1 million into that capital projects fund. And then we will spend down the beginning balance, which is why it shows there as a negative number. The very bottom line, we're projecting at the end of this year, the balance in that fund will be 79,000. So some of our funds, it doesn't make sense for us to carry large beginning balances. The funds where we want to have larger balances are the ones where we do have large balances, which are primarily in the Ed Fund, which is Fund 10. All right, so the same thing on the negative number on Fund 50, the negative 64,000. We don't think we will actually spend that much in IMRF, but we have to take that into consideration. And again, we're just drawing into that opening balance, so we're not ending, no account is going to actually end the year in the red, so we'll be in the positive. All right, so that's the budget summary, and, two more things on here. Salaries and benefits, for your information, of the $35 million that we will spend, 21 million of that is projected to be salaries. The next biggest area is materials and supplies, and then operations and maintenance. So we have some higher expenditures in the Fund 20 than we would normally see because we have the federal grant funds, the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3. And so we're able to put some of that into building projects over the next year. Evidence-based funding, which is funding from the state, is our largest source of revenue, and we're getting $13.7 million in funding from the state this year. So the state funding, we have our local revenues, that's 21 million. Actually, it's more than that. And then other grants are where we get our other revenues. So federal special ed, title, which is Title I, special ed is not Title I. The title grants, and go ahead, correct me, I know.
It's okay.
It's title which?
I wasn't gonna say
Title
anything.
what? Title IV, thank you. All right, so there it is in a nutshell. So we can motion to approve and discuss if we need to.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Tyler will second it. Okay, any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, now we move to
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
John Brotherton.
aye. That leads us to number 17.
This is the administrative cost waiver approval.
Do we have any questions about that? Look at it, YouTube. I'll make the motion for that.
I'll second.
Tyler will second it.
Nikki Pettit.
Aye. Okay. Go ahead.
Diana Mendoza.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
John Brotherton.
Aye. All right, we discussed all that, so.
We have, yeah, that's been in 2 previous board meetings we talked about. 18 is Director of Human Resources. So I mentioned this last month, and I have discussed it with Board President Brotherton and Board Vice President Pettit, that I am asking the board to approve the job description and request to add an administrator for human resources. The Director of Human Resources will oversee the Human Resources Department and assist with the business office, grants, and facilities planning. It is anticipated that the final candidate will be on a 244-day contract, which is what all 12-month administrators are on, with an annual salary of between $88,000 and $105,000. As I shared with Mr. Brotherton and Ms. Pettit, is that, you know, we have a $36 million budget, 340 employees this year. We've so far had about 16 new employees this school year. And right now we have a 1-person office, and there's a lot of things we could be doing better in terms of human resources, but also there's a lot of liability to the district if we don't get human resources right. In terms of, there's a lot. And also, as I said, $21 million of our budget is in human resources. So that's the reason for the request.
I'll make a motion to approve the item as presented.
I'll second.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
John Brotherton.
Aye. All right. 19, approve agreement with third party.
So we have there's 5 items listed up here, and they're all MOUs or contracts or agreements with third parties. 3 of them are affiliated with, I said 3, yes. 3 are related to the community health grant that we have. I can go through each one if you want. But, well, let me do minimal at least here. So
Yes.
one is with Gateway Family Services of Illinois. And this agency will be providing services under the Community Partnership Grant. Another is with Carl under the Community Partnership Grant, and that is to increase the number of mobile health clinics that they offer here in Rantoul. And those are paid out of that Community Partnership Grant. There is also, we're working on a proposal with the Center for Education in Small Urban Communities, which is with the University of Illinois, to provide support, professional development support to our teachers in grades K-5. That we've worked with them in the past, but during COVID, they kind of went away and we're ready to renew that relationship with them. There's also a school consultation agreement for social work services. So we are looking to provide additional support to we have 3 social workers / counselors at the junior high, and she's gonna be doing 1 day a week, roughly.
Yeah,
So,
mentoring and working with our intern as well.
yes, so providing support with our interns, and we do have 1 new social worker at the junior high. And then another one is we are contracting with the Regional Office of Education. They have an office called SchoolWorks to provide instructional coaching services at the junior high with our science and social studies teachers. In past years, the junior high has had 3 full-time instructional coaches. This year, they only have 2.5 because Mrs. Korecki is teaching some ESL classes for us as well as being a coach. So we wanted to provide some targeted support for our science and social studies teachers. So all of those are in there. The motion is to authorize the superintendent to enter into the MOUs and contracts as presented because we are still finalizing them. So if anyone knows anything about contracts with the U of I, we have a draft and it still has to go to their legal and then they're very complicated. Okay, so that's where we are with that. I think all the 1, 2, I think the other 4 are finalized. It's just the one with UIUC that's not finalized yet. All right.
Make a motion to authorize the superintendent to enter into MOUs and contracts as presented.
Diane Allison.
All right, Betty. Diana Mendoza.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
John Brotherton.
Aye.
All right, information items. We had a couple FOIAs. I wanted to acknowledge that one of our staff members, Ms. Patricia Valente, was published. And it features RCS in the article. So in your board packet, I know I uploaded the full article. If you'd like to look at that, yeah, it's a nice thing for her and our district. And then the LEA determination is on here. I'm gonna call on Allison in a minute, but the RCS Special Education Department received a perfect score from ISB. She wanted me to highlight that it was 100% in its LEA determination and yay. So last meeting, pre-K got a gold star, I think is what it was, gold level, and now LEA is, so what does that mean?
So did you give them a copy of this in the packet?
It's in the packet, yes.
Essentially, it's a report card for our department. So the state receives a grade from the federal government on their ability to follow the federal law. And so then they give us a score as well. And they go through each of these indicators and make sure that we're in full compliance. And then they give you a score on a rubric scale of 1 to 3. And we got all of our points. So thank you to our department. So.
Allison, what's the percentage of school districts that get this?
I don't know. I don't think that that's readily available, but this is a relatively new scoring system, and we were at A+ last year at 100%, and I think maybe like 23 out of 24 the year before. So,
Congratulations, thank you.
good job.
And board superintendent comments. So I've got mine first, if you don't mind. Miss Marguerite Carter invites anyone interested in helping with the 2022 Red Kettle season to attend an informational meeting on Friday, the 23rd from 5:30 to 6:30 at the First United Methodist Church in Rantoul. I wanted to highlight some facilities items. The exterior projects at East Lawn, Pleasant Acres, and JW Ader are on the punch list stage. You could have parked in the parking lot tonight if you came up.
No, you couldn't.
What, was it blocked off?
Well, they were out there working.
Oh, good. All right. They're finishing the stuff up. I will say that I was at East Lawn today, and I know the main thing we're waiting on at East Lawn are the downspouts, and same as at Pleasant Acres, and I saw some downspouts today. I didn't see all of them, but the new parking lot is in use normally, and we are working on a temporary traffic changes on Wabash. We've ordered some materials, and there's some things we'll do with the village. And then we're gonna try a temporary traffic pattern out there before we would go into this grant with the village to build permanent structures out there. Recently, we walked through the facilities with our architect. By we, I mean Jenny Frericks and I, with our architect to plan future projects. And so some of the things we're working on that were all in that, remember I said that operations and maintenance on the budget had a lot of money in it. And these are some of the projects we're getting more formal plans from the architect, and then it would go to a bidding process, and then the board would vote on that. So we're still several steps out, but here we are. Site improvements for Ader, which would include replacement of the south parking lot. So it has aged out and is at a point where it needs to be redone. So if you drive through it, you know what I'm talking about. Along with those site improvements would include redoing sidewalks. So we're hoping to have kind of a better walking path around the building, and an outdoor learning space, which would be just south of, that's south, right? Just south of those offices and adjacent. So there's an area out here of green space that we're hoping to turn into a covered patio so that teachers can take classes outside. And landscaping, we're looking at some landscaping plans for Ader and Broadmeadow. A big one we're looking at is the office reconfiguration at Broadmeadow. So one of the Broadmeadow, if you go into that building, you know that they have, to get into the staff lounge, you actually have to go into the front two doors to get there. It's real awkward. They don't have a double door entry system. They're one of the buildings that doesn't. And so we're looking at how do we reconfigure that whole entryway so that we have the double door entry system and still have a good traffic flow and kind of alleviate that weird staff lounge room that they have there. So that's one where I had to be in the building and have it explained to me to understand what we were talking about. And then my favorite is the replacement of all classroom doors in the district. Your favorite too.
Thank you.
I know. I want it to be done so we can move on. So our plan is replacement of all classroom doors by summer of 2023. And then the other, and what would that look like? We think, so at Ader, when we redid the front hallway at Ader, we tore out all of the door frames. It is much cheaper if we can simply replace the doors and the hinges and all of those things. So the architect, the firm is going through and assessing all of the doors to determine which ones need the full frame replaced versus which ones need just the door. And that's a big cost savings. There are some areas where we know we're going to have to do major projects. For instance, the gym doors into East Lawn, they have to be completely torn out and redone. I mean, they're almost not operable at this point. We're also looking at some hallway fire doors. So in all of our buildings, you might not know this, but when the fire alarm goes off, there's all these doors that shut in the buildings. And some of those have to be replaced as part of our 10-year life safety plan. And then the other would be cleaning the fence lines. So we have fences all over the district that have really, in some places, gotten quite overgrown. So we're working on how do we address that. So I know the one that's most obvious to me is East Lawn. Their north parking lot, there's a fence line and all the houses are up to it. And it's a jungle. And I don't know what the neighbors think, but we're gonna try to work on that. The next item is all 5 of our schools have completed their law enforcement drills for this school year, and documentation has been submitted to the ROE. I think it's a record. We did it I told them they all had to be by September 15th, and they did. It's amazing. All right, we have 90 days to do it, just to be clear. We did it in the first month. Board members, this is my 2 announcements for board members. Please see Hannah's email about getting an RCS shirt. Did you send it? She sent it? All right. She sent an email about getting an RCS shirt. We'd like for you all to pick out a shirt or sweatshirt out of off of this that you could have when you're up at the Triple I conference, and you might want to wear it when you're there. So, hello. Then I have a fun Triple I item, which is Hannah and I, more so Hannah, is really stressing out about dinner. So the first night when we're up there, the Thursday night, we typically go out to dinner as a board and with your guests. So one thing we need to have an idea of is how many of you are going to be there with a guest by 6 o'clock on Thursday, because that's the senior hour, which is when I go out to dinner. So.
Oh, it's 4:30.
Well, it would be. We could definitely get a reservation anywhere we want at 4:30. So what we're struggling with is, last year we had a big group table, and a lot of places don't want a group that big. So we're just trying to figure it out. So we can have this discussion now, or we can talk later individually.
I'm not in till Friday.
Okay.
I think,
Wilson out.
I
Okay.
think everybody else is there Thursday, correct?
By 6 o'clock? Okay.
By 6.
All right.
Alice?
And,
I can ask Kat, so I need to ask.
all right.
She's shaking her head, so.
All right, and we're interested in that Thursday evening going to dinner, correct? Okay, all right.
Is this the pizza thing?
Well, we don't know yet, because the place I want to go ahead, you can talk, because you're doing all the work.
So we've looked at a couple different places. There is one place, I can say, right, we've looked at Miller's Pub is what it's called. It's kind of quite a bit more casual than last year's dinner was. They just cannot guarantee that they're gonna have a table for 17 of us to be able, they don't have a private space. So it would be 2 or maybe 3 tables that we would be set at. So there's that. We've looked at a couple other little bit fancier places. So if you have Nikki's given, like, I think last year was really cool, but it was kind of fancy. It was a lot. So if you have any awesome ideas, especially someplace kind of within walking distance.
More casual walking distance of the.
Walking distance is good. I think that way we don't have to Uber and do that whole thing, so.
And just for the record for the public is that we do try to go somewhere more modest. That is not the case with all of the school districts that are up there, but that's up to them. But last year we had a pretty nice spot.
So anyway, you can.
Miller's Pub, more like burgers and fries.
They're known for barbecue ribs.
They're known for ribs, but it is someplace that you could, if you wanted to order a burger or a
Yeah.
chicken salad
Yes.
or whatever, or ribs or steak or any of those other things, you could do that.
All right.
Okay.
Whatever you choose.
All right, but we are looking for suggestions, because I only know where my wife takes me when I go to the city with her. So it's pretty limited. All right, I guess that's it for my comments. You want to note for in the agenda that
I
Mr.
did.
Johnson got here?
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Starting September 20th, you can pick up your nomination forms for the next election. That's all I got.
You'll get them and you'll pass them out?
No.
Oh,
No.
oh, okay.
So I guess that's a question I should ask the board is how much or how little do you want the district office to put that out? Because we are going to have four seats are up on the next ballot. So I think it's appropriate that we would put some messaging out to our families, letting them know that that's the time of year and make them aware of the process. But I don't want to do anything that might be perceived as interfering either. So I guess I'm looking for some direction from you. It would be very generic, whatever I would put out.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Is anyone opposed to that? I mean, yeah, I'm not, it's just saying, like, I could use our parent email system and put out an email and say this, you can pick up your petitions if you're interested and go from there. So that,
Sounds.
because with 4 seats open, you need at least 4 people to sign up. All right, and I will stop talking then. Anything else from the board?
Anybody else? Nope. I have a very, I know Tyler's looking at me. I'll make this quick, Tyler. Going around to the buildings, at the beginning of school, I was very impressed with everything. From the grounds to the staff, everything was, the parents, kids, I was just very impressed with what went on. And so thank you. Thank you. You're the ones who do it, and
It has been wonderful
and they
to,
all seem to be enthused. I didn't, I tried to be just a cheerleader and just say, hi, how are you doing? How are things? And not, and thank you. And they just seem to be bubbling over. So I hope that can, it's been an indication.
having COVID behind us is a major big deal. It does feel like more normal in a good way, for sure.
We've been doing rounds. Me and Nikki. We've been very impressed.
Thank you for doing that. Anybody else have a comment?
No, sir.
Well, Tyler,
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Diane seconds, okay? Can we just make that a,
It's a voice vote, yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're crazy?
Thank you. And thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I know, shortest meeting we've had.
Can I ask you a question?
Did you think you were still starting at 6:30?
Thank you guys for making it short, because now I gotta run to the high school.
All right. Teacher conferences.
Yeah, teacher.
I will talk to.
Oh, let me stop
I
the.
can't create.
Oh, my goodness. How's everybody doing?
Hey, Tyler. Each board.
Oh, wait.
Try and get that.